Well, I gotta say something. When I first started watching Mystery Science Theater was back in '89, I think. I was at my grandmother's house with my cousin. And the first time we saw it, we were kind of like confused at first, and I think it was Hercules. I can't remember which Hercules it was, but we were watching one of those. That might have been with the one with Steve Reeves. I'm not sure.
Right.
But yeah, that we were hooked, and then we started doing our own little thing where we'd imitate it in a sense, like make cardboard cutout look like the chairs of the theaters, and make fun of Friday the 13th, and we had a great time doing it, and it's been in my heart for forever, and I've wanted to talk to you guys for so long, and I can't believe I'm actually talking to you, but this is, for me, it's it might be weird for other people, but it's a dream come true for me.
Oh, that's great. I really appreciate it, and it's always been very gratifying for us, the way that the show connects with certain people, and obviously it's not true of everyone, and it's not a show for everyone, but we did it, like you say, with your show, because we really loved it. We just had a blast, and I remember the Python people saying this too, that when they started in the early days, they just laughed like crazy, and that's what we did pretty much throughout the whole thing, and so to have that transfer over, because it's not always true that you have fun doing a show and it doesn't always translate to the screen. It's just a small piece of screen with light coming out of it. So to make that transfer out of the TV is not easy, and so I'm glad that it did, and I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, it definitely had an impact on me, because I think, after your show, it was basically embedded in my mind, because I wanted to be on TV since I was 4 years old, but basically after your show, it was embedded in my head that I had to do this. This was something I wanted to do, because I've always been into comedy. I mean, comedy's been my major thing, and everybody's always bugging me to go do stand-up comedy. I've done, like, plays and whatnot, and figuring, what the hell, I can get in front of people and do that. I guess I could do that. And, big fan of Three Stooges and all the old comedies, and Mystery Science Theater is one of my favorite ones of all.
That's great. I think I always tell kids, because I do speaking at a lot of colleges, so when college kids ask me, if I wanted to get into it, what do you think, what's the route? And I always think stand-up is probably the best training that you can do, because it teaches you about everything, about timing, and teaches you about acting, and it teaches you about how to handle yourself on stage and how people think of you. Because if you don't identify that to an audience, they're going to eat you alive.
Yeah.
So you have to. It touches on everything. You have to be physical. You have to. So yeah, I think stand-up is the way to go to get into everything.
Now, I don't want you to reveal any, too many secrets or nothing about Mystery Science Theater, but I was always curious. I mean, you did do the movies when you did do the movies with the theater seats and whatnot. I mean, that was obviously green screen, but, or was it green screen? I mean, tell me a little bit about that.
Yes, it was green screened. The seats themselves were just cut out fiberboard insulation. I think it probably cost $11, and the puppeteers were crouched on those little video game seats. I think they call them, those little curved sit on the floor, seats.
Yeah.
And it was so cheaply rigged up. They had little apple crates, and and a little bit of foam to keep the puppet noise down, and then they were just crouched down there with their scripts pretty much on their chest, and we just watched a little monitor below the theater seats, and we did it kind of straight through every time. The movie would just run, and we'd read off of our scripts, and that was it. There wasn't a lot of magic to it. It always felt very weird to do it.
Was it uncomfortable sitting there that whole time like that?
It was, yeah. It's we'd break it off, obviously, when the commercial breaks came, but it was in a huge studio, not by design. It was just this, we'd rented out this sort of, industrial park real estate, and it was this giant studio, and we'd sit in there and make our comments, and obviously, no one's in there with you, and no one's laughing or anything, and so you just hear your own voice kind of ringing off the walls, and it felt like, what the hell are we doing? This isn't funny in the least. Excuse me, because you're used to, when you're in comedy, you're used to immediate reaction, and this felt like, what? There's this echo. It was like dogs barking far away.